This week on the Ravens Rundown, we are going to have a trade rumors mailbag, but I need you guys to give me trade ideas. So, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe now, youtube.com/RavensTV, and go to our community tab. Submit me your trade ideas, and I will react to the best ones later this week right here on the Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now, youtube.com/RavensTV. Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Our show is presented by Aura, our newest partner here at Chat Sports. We'll tell you more about what they do coming up later in the show. You can start your free trial now at aura.com/chatsports. On today's show, we will examine Sports Illustrated's bold predictions for the Baltimore Ravens in 2022. Also, we will tell you about what John Harbaugh had to say about one Raven, and also a look at OTAs for the Ravens so far, a report from there as well we'll get to in just a little while from right now. Let's start out with the update from Sports Illustrated. They put out this long piece with about 100 different predictions for how things will go. Some bold predictions across the NFL, including 3 for the Ravens. Let's run those down one by one. The first of those, the Ravens will win 12 games or more in 2022. Now, for me, that one's a little difficult to imagine, but let's go ahead and hear what Sports Illustrated had to say. No team had a more targeted and successful draft. Few NFL clubs have found a way to adequately defend the Ravens at full health. Now they appear better and stronger than ever. Outside of Joe Burrow's transcendent excellence, we know very little for sure about the rest of the AFC North. Now, look, I think the Ravens can win the AFC North. 12 games sounds like a lot. I think it's more realistically around 11 games or less for the Ravens. But you look at their schedule, things are pretty winnable. You go through that first month taking on the AFC East, teams like the Jets, Dolphins, Patriots, and Bills. You hope to come out 2-2, maybe 3-1. Then you go to the next 4 weeks. You host the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. You take on the Giants on the road. That should be a win there. The Browns, maybe Deshaun Watson doesn't play in that game. That could be a win there. Tough challenge against Tom Brady and the Bucs on Thursday Night Football, Week 8. And then you follow that up, Week 9, going to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Should be able to win that. Bye week comes at a good time, Week 10. And then the Panthers and Jags should add to the win column those weeks. Then you play the Broncos, Steelers, and Browns. That's a tough stretch, those 3 weeks there. And then you wrap things up with the Falcons, Steelers, and the Bengals. So you can see it's a manageable schedule for the Browns in 2022. And with what they did this offseason, with knowing what the Bengals are going through, the Bengals with their offensive line, the struggles that they still have not replaced, and the Browns not having Deshaun for a while, Steelers in a big change without Big Ben, it's an opportune time for the Ravens. So I want to hear from you guys. Predict the Ravens' record in 2022. Put a number on it of how many games they will win this season, and you're going to get an ad break. Take advantage of it. While the ad's playing, give us your prediction for the Ravens this year. So the second bold prediction from SI was that the Ravens will have 2 1,000-yard rushers in 2022. Now, you look at the Ravens' core rushers. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is one of them at the quarterback position, but then your top 2 running backs return from injury with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. And we know that Lamar is going to get his, but I'm watching for J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins, with the right amount of carries, can be a Pro Bowl running back, that he is that good. And he's still relatively young. He has a lot of intangibles, a lot of things that you cannot teach. I would not sleep on J.K. Dobbins. He is a guy that I would watch for to be that guy more so than Gus Edwards to have a shot at being a 1,000-yard rusher. So there you have it. I want to hear from you guys. Pick a rusher. Who's most likely to be the 1,000-yard rusher? The first one to get to 1,000 yards. Is it Lamar? Is it J.K.? Is it Gus? Let me know in the comments section. For Lamar, type LJ. Type J.K. for J.K. Dobbins. Or type GE for Gus Edwards in the comments below. The third and final prediction from SI was that Lamar Jackson will have a career high in passing yards and be an MVP candidate. Now, if you look at Lamar's numbers, passing yards have not been high. Even in his MVP season that he had just 3,100 passing yards. And so, for me, this is what's very interesting. When you see that the Ravens are making the changes that they are among their receiving core, that's a big step up to think that he is going to put up better numbers receiving-wise with worse receiver talent right now than he did in 2019 when he had that big year and had 36 touchdowns and 31 receiving yards. But nonetheless, the idea of him being an MVP candidate, I could see happening. Now, granted, there are a lot of good quarterbacks that will be going for that said award, but I think that's a more likely scenario than him eclipsing his career high for passing yards. But very interesting information there from SI. Our show today is presented by Aura. These guys are just the absolute best. They take care of you when it comes to financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online and device security. And the best part about it, they're going to protect your loved ones too. Family plans, up to 5 people included. And they're offering our viewers a 14-day free trial. You go to aura.com/chatsports, the all-in-one digital safety for the entire family. You know, I had a situation a couple of years ago where my debit card, well, what do you know? I went to one of those big box stores and my account information was compromised. Didn't find out till months later. Aura, if I had Aura back then, would have told me right away. So do the smart thing. Sign up for Aura now. Get that free 14-day trial at aura.com/chatsports, and you'll be glad you did. So John Harbaugh this week spoke highly of Brandon Stephens, his second-year defensive back, and talked about his role for Stephens, as many people think that he could have a breakout season. Here's what Harbaugh said. We're kind of playing him all over because he can. He's very versatile. He's got a lot of safeties. We added another corner now, so there's a lot of depth in there. But he can play outside. He looked good today doing it. He can go inside in the slot. He's done well with that. More from Harbaugh. He can play safety. We haven't played him as much at safety in these past 2 practices, but I would say he's a corner/safety instead of a safety/corner at this point in time. So, high praise for Brandon Stephens there from John Harbaugh as a breakout candidate, somebody to watch in 2022. How about you guys? Name a breakout player for the Ravens this year who you think could potentially step up and be a name that maybe we're not talking about in 2022. Stephens has potential. I can tell you that right now. The ceiling is very high, and I love a guy that can just be an athlete. You know, so many times we like to put guys in a box, right? And, you know, as our kids are playing Little League sports, a lot of the times we see that, you know, parents are pushing them to be a one-sport athlete or pick one position and not play both sides of the ball. And for Brandon Stephens, with his flexibility, he kind of reminds me of an old-school athlete that you just throw him out there and you say, I trust you, you're going to figure out wherever you go. And that's the aura, the mantra that we're seeing from John Harbaugh is that he just sees Brandon Stephens as a football player. And I like that. I think that he can break out and he could be the ball player that you ask him to be wherever he's at on the field. So I'm watching for Brandon Stephens to have a really good year in 2022. Ravens Rundown each and every day right here on the channel. You better be subscribed and tell all your friends. Make sure they're subscribed as well so you never miss a moment of Ravens Rundown as we bring you content. Best part about it, it's all free each and every day right here on the channel. YouTube.com/Ravens TV. Subscribe now. You will not regret it. I can promise you that much. YouTube.com/Ravens TV. All right, one more note before we go today. Jonas Schaefer, who's out covering Ravens OTAs, had a couple observations about how things are going for the Ravens so far and some things that stuck out to him. He said Tyler Huntley, the Ravens backup quarterback, had a 45-yard touchdown pass to Rashad Bateman, beating Marcus Williams in coverage. It's a little one-on-one action you can see there between the ones. Tyler Beatty, heavily involved in the pass game and caught everything. Beatty, 6th-round pick out of Mizzou. I'm telling you, he's going to be a really good player. He's going to have steep competition for playing time, but I like his potential there for the Ravens. And then Dalen Haynes was active and in the backfield again. So very good stuff there from Jonas providing us that update from Ravens OTA. So there you have it. That's the latest this week on the Ravens rundown of what's going on with your Baltimore Ravens. Stay tuned later this week for our Ravens trade mailbag.